further ado, this will be an exciting kulitan. I would like to mention our founder for the night. She is a serial entrepreneur who launched one of the top online auction outfits in Singapore called Soul.sg. After she sold that company, she joined a SoftBank affiliated fund focused on investment in Southeast Asia and the Philippines. Later joined Grab and started Grab Bike and Grab Express in the Philippines, and then founded Angkas in 2017. So Angkas today is the most popular ride-hailing and delivery service app for motorcycles in the country with over 27,000 bike partners and over 1.5 million app downloads. So let me welcome Angkas CEO, Miss Angeline Tham. Yay, round of applause.
Hi guys, thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure and an honor to be speaking with all of you today. I'm going to start off with a fun video if you guys have not watched it. Who's watched this video? Right? So, last time, right? Feel free to stand up and dance if you want to. All right? It's catchy like that. So this video this is not the full video, right? But this video was actually written by our biker and performed by our bikers, all right? So we're very proud of it. And this music video went viral. We saw 1.5 million views in 5 days. And that's because we were willing to take risks, but also stay true to what the brand personality is about. Okay, so let's start with disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation is something that changes an established way of doing things. And companies that have done this in our lifetime are Apple, Netflix, and Uber, right? They've changed the way we use our phones, music. They've changed the way we view entertainment and the way we move ourselves from one place to another. And as a startup, that's great. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff that comes with startups, which is why I started with that video. But there's also a lot of ups and downs that come with it when you're trying to disrupt something that's very established. So I just wanted to share a little bit about the Angkas story with you, and I'll take questions after. So I'm going to start with this pretty picture here. Who can tell me what this is? It's Edsa on a good day, right? So this is the reason why we've done what we've done, right? So this congestion in this road causes 3.5 billion pesos of losses on a daily basis, and that's a lot of money. All right, the MRT only transports 300,000 people, and from our studies, Habal does 100,000. This is 1/3 the capacity of mass transportation in the Philippines. All right, so what we wanted to do was we wanted to professionalize and establish industry that's been around for 40 years and that people are using. And using technology, we wanted to make it safer, more efficient, and more affordable for people. So these are the reasons people love Angkas. I don't know if you guys know what Angkas is, all right? But I know you probably your favorite part is probably the promo codes, right? Okay, so basically at Angkas, we train our bikers, we ensure that they have insurance, we make sure there's fixed upfront pricing, and we want to make sure that the customers get the best experience that they can, right? So we've trained 70,000 drivers, but, oh, did I press something? So we've trained 70,000 bikers, we've only onboarded 27,000 because we believe in only onboarding the best bikers onto the platform. And with this, you know, people really, really love the service. In less than 8 months of operations, we had thousands of rides, we had 16,000 drivers, 600,000 downloads, and we're in 2 cities. So things were going great, right? But one fine day, we got hit by this. Twitter announcement, Twitter order from the LTFRB. We didn't know that they could do that, right? They're very with the times. So after that, they came with every agency they could think of, and they raided our office, right? Yep, they raided our office. And we decided to sit down and have talks with the LTFRB because we were telling them that we have a service here that's improving what's existing in the market, right? Customers love it, drivers love it because they have great income. We want to share this with you, and please give us feedback on how we can meet your standards, right, in order to make this service available to more people. Guess what they said? Yeah, no. Right? Not surprising. So they told us, hey, you know, we can't do anything about it. We understand your situation, but we can't do anything about it. Please go change the law with Congress and Senate and, you know. And we were like, okay, we're this tiny little startup, you know, how can you tell us to go change the law? Shouldn't you be helping us with this situation, because this impacts a lot of people, right? Not just commuters, but also the livelihoods of our bikers. But we were lucky enough, right? After months of talking to various people, we actually went to the courts to seek some help, and the lower courts actually granted us an injunction against the LTFRB to interfere in our service. Yes, everyone has a clap, right? So, of course, they were not very happy about it. You know, they still said that we were unsafe, we're just after profit, you know, we don't really care about the public. But we were lucky because the enforcers on the ground, they understood what the situation was, right? And they backed the court order because they knew that we were truly providing a service that was beneficial to the people. And after 3 months of operations, this is like the highs and lows, the empire always strikes back, right? The LTFRB injunctioned our injunction. I also didn't know they could do that, but they did. All right, so what this means is that it cancelled out the injunction that we got against them. So I want to share with you a video of a biker that inspired me to keep going. Because at this point, we were almost 2 years into the business, and that was like really lots of highs and lows, right? Sorry for those of you who don't speak Tagalog.
Dalawang pamilya ko kami. Yung tatay ko, paminsan-minsan lang po pupunta sa amin. Pero sinusuportahan naman po niya kami. Nakita ko na po yung hirap dati. Kaya ngayon, yung mga anak ko, pinupursige ko sila. Nag-apply ako sa kanila. Unang punta ko sa kanila, bagsak po ako. Dahil sa sobrang taas ng standard nila eh. Mga isang buwan, bago ulit bumalik. Dalawang punta ko, yung pumasa na po ako. Noong unang week, hindi pa ako kumikita ng 1K pataas. Pero yung nasasanay na po ako, tanghali lang po kumikita po ako ng 1, 2, 1, 3. Pag binubuo ko yung araw niya, lumalagpas po ako ng 2K. Nagipaganda na yung takbo ng buhay namin. Hanggang okay naman kita, malaki naman. Nag-decide na ako na patigilin si Mrs. para makafocus doon sa mga bata. Kaya lang ito naman, parang nung pinag-stop ko naman siya, pinag-stop din kami ng operation. Kaya doon ako kami bumagsak ng husto. Nung nag-stop operation ko si Angkas, parang bumagsak sa akin yung langit na parang na kaya akong ilang itong bata, may nag-aaral pa. Habang tumatagal, itong isa namin anak, hindi na nakakapasok. Wala namang may baon eh. Wala namang may bili ng project. Kaya hindi na ako nakapasok. Halos maiyak ako ng unity ride na sinabi na hindi kami pinapayagan na mag-operate ulit. No?
Okay, so Emmanuel France is the reason, is the reason why we do what we do, right? I mean, the stories like that are everywhere with our bikers, and this is something we really truly believe in, that we're helping to change lives. And we decided that we really needed to do something different, right? To kind of get the government to sit up and listen to us, to kind of know that we're fighting for something more than just a startup trying to make profits, right? We wanted to show the government that this is not just about us, it's about the drivers and it's about the passengers. And with that, we held a Unity Ride rally where we saw thousands of drivers attend. So let me share some of that with you.
The state of the Metro Manila transport system is dying in the country right now. People are suffering.
We are here to give jobs to millions of Filipinos. Right now, they are regarded by our laws as illegal, and this is not right.
People are losing business opportunities. They are losing about 3.5 billion daily in lost opportunities.
There are 40 million riders in the entire country. All of them depend on motorcycles for their livelihood. 14 million bikers are riding on a daily basis. At ang hasilan ng isa, bawat araw, it's 28 million. Isn't that mass transportation? They continue to close their eyes, they continue to ignore over and over and over again.
Nakikita naman po natin ang pila ng MRT, napakahaba. Nakikita po natin yung P2P buses, hindi po sufisyente, PNBS, kulang-kulang. Tayo ang solusyon dito po sa ating kahirapan. You guys are one of the most trained motorcycle riders in the country. You guys have gone through safety training, certification, may insurance. The things that we were libo-libo na nais iangat ang kanilang buhay. Dapat po payagan at suwiling kastela po ang mangunguna upang iparating sa sambayanan at sa pamahalan ang karahilan ng tao at ang solusyon na may bibigyan po ninyo. We are riding for regulation!
You can clap if you want to. Thanks. So this was one of our first Unity rides. We actually held another two more, throughout the times where we saw in Cebu and in Manila. So I understand that a lot of you here are from Manila. Yes? Have you guys seen any of this? Yes? All right, it's called Habal Habal. This is called Skylab because it's so innovative, right? You put a plank over and you become a plane. You can take like 10, 15 people. All right. But, I just wanted to show this here because I think this is the impression a lot of people have about motorcycles, right? And this is one of the reasons why the government is so against motorcycles. They don't understand that what we want to do is one person, helmets, insurance, all that stuff. Which is what the law requires. Three things, right? You need to wear helmets, not on the bike, but on your head. All right, no notifications and only one passenger at a time. And so the big concern here is, hey, 53% of all road accidents in the Philippines involve a motorcycle. It can't be safe for mass transportation. It cannot be used for mass transportation. And this is something that we also needed to change their mindsets on. And what better way than launching a Safer Than Condoms campaign. All right, so who wants to talk about safety? Nobody cares about your statistics unless you put it out in a creative manner, right? So we are safer than condoms, guys. Tell all your friends. All right, and we put this on bus ads and stuff like that, so just to get the word out there. So that's all been really heavy stuff. I wanted to also share a little bit of a concert that we held at the end of last year. So we basically got the Supreme Court injunction mid-December, at a time when people needed it the most, right? So as you guys all know, traffic goes really haywire, and bikers need a livelihood during that time for spending on the fiestas and Noche Buenas. And we could have gone all out and hit the government back and kind of like call them names, right? Like, hey, what are you doing? This is a bad time. But in the spirit of positivity, we wanted to inspire more people to think positively. We wanted to give back to the community. We actually launched one of the largest concerts of 2018 because we had so much support from celebrities and people on the ground. So we saw 30 celebrities come and support this concert, and we had 15,000 attendees. We had a lot of fun that night, and Andrew E is officially my favorite Filipino performer. He was so into it, he threw his hat into the crowd, he threw his jacket into the crowd, he threw both his shoes into the crowd. And it was raining. I'm like, Andrew, you don't have shoes. He was like, it's okay. You know, I just really wanted to do that. So that was really, really fun. And we started to see a lot of change. So this actually has gone up to 155,000 as of today. It's our online petition that we were able to garner a lot of support. You know, and in 2 months, you know, from that TRO, we were able to get the support of the House, the Congress, we were able to get support of the Senate, and most of all, DOTR is now reconsidering the position in Angkas, which is something that I could not have imagined, you know, in this lifetime. But this is what goes to show, like, you know, what people love, you know, if you're able to think about it creatively, this is something that, you know, we're very, very, very thankful that we managed to do. And today, the Congressional House bill has actually passed. So we're looking to try and pass it in the Senate to fight for proper regulations for our bikers. And so I just want to end off with this. So Angkas continues to fight to change this into this. It happens now, okay? Don't laugh. All right, thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Angie. So, can I ask you to take a throne?
Wow. Thank goodness I was wearing jeans today.
Okay, so very inspiring story, not only for the startup Angkas, for their riders, but also for the country, which will hopefully is a continuous innovation for transportation in the Philippines. Now, I would like to call on another QT, our operations manager, Ms. Natasha Bautista, for fireside chat with the founder.
Are we gonna show the fire again? Can I ask you to take that seat so that they have a better view of you? Okay, so a few things first. I always do this. Let's do a quick scan of the crowd. So how many are startup founders? Be higher, be proud. Yes. Okay, existing, right? Okay, how many want to be startup founders? Nice. How many are here just for the food? Again, you guys again. Okay, so at least we know who we're talking to. And one last thing, how many of you are finding it difficult to work with the environment that we have in the Philippines because of regulations or policies or whatnot?
I feel you.
Okay, only half lang pala. Okay, second thing also that I kind of want to remind, for those of you who do not RSVP on Eventbrite, please do so. So for the walk-ins, we will stop accepting walk-ins in a few, maybe more weeks. So please, please, please do register in our Eventbrite. All right, so I won't ask that many questions.
Okay.
But I'll ask the tough ones. No, just kidding. I promise not to. But first, nice to finally share the same room with you again. We actually worked together for a bit, just for a bit, like a few months.
In an awesome office.
Awesome. But my first question is that, okay, let's go back.
Sure.
I think a lot of our founders here want to hear about your story and the beginning of Angkas. So can you tell us what was the idea? How did this idea come about? So that's the first. And the second is like, how was it in the early days of Angkas? The first year, the first month.
Well, I mean, this idea is not new, right? I mean, other countries have this, and we did kind of run this here for a little bit as well. And if you look at the traffic, there's definitely a strong case for it. I think what made us really want to start this was when you can see the impact you have on the customers and the drivers. This is something that really pushed us to run this service. And I think if you ask me what was difficult about Angkas at the start, in Manila, there's a very strong discrimination against two-wheeled bikes. There's a very strong stigma against riding two-wheeled bikes. So even though people have tried the service, they love it. Like our hardcore users would be like, oh my God, I love Angkas, but I won't post it on social media. Because, you know, my parents would scold me, my friends would be like, what are you doing risking your lives? Because they didn't know what Angkas was back then, right?
It wasn't sexy.
It wasn't sexy,
Wasn't. Past
so
tense.
I even had a friend who was like, oh, I love riding Angkas, but I get stopped one street before my house. So I can walk home. And the other day, I had to hide in the bushes because, like, my parents drove by. So those are the kinds of things that we were facing at the start, really trying to change that kind of mindset. And I'm happy to say, like 2 years on, when we've gone through those trials and tribulations, and we suspended the service, everybody was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do without Angkas? I'm saving so much time, saving so much money." So I think at least that's a nice turnaround. Yeah.
So was it more difficult to get drivers on board or passengers on board? Or was it both?
I think drivers you can get on board because of of livelihood, right? And also we try to treat our drivers well, and there's really a sense of community that the drivers feel as part of the Angkas Pakara. The more difficult thing was to bring passengers on because everyone's afraid, they're hiding in the shadows, things like that. So I think that's really the mindset that was difficult for us to change.
So I guess what were the marketing strategies or your growth strategies that worked and that kind of helped with the customer, with the adoption of customers? And which ones did not work? Because like we see this, we see the brand, we see the ads, and it's so amazing. But like I also really want to see which ones didn't work so that they don't have to go through that too.
I think in terms of what we did, for me, my baseline was really, I believe that this is a service that we're running well, right? So that's number one. We believe that we have a good product. And because of that, if in my mind, I told my staff, right, if people try it 3 times and they have a good experience 3 times, then they will believe that maybe this is something they can ride on a more regular basis. So people will try it once and then they'll forget about it because they're like, oh my God, I survived my Angkas ride. I'm so happy. But like to really get the business to grow and have people change their mindsets, you need them to keep trying. And I think that's something that was that what really helped was to get people to start talking about it. So creating that brand that was authentic, believable, which is our persona online, and trustworthy was something that really helped a lot.
Can I ask, like, how many of you here follow Angkas Twitter? Right?
Oh, come on,
I mean, can I say right? I don't even have to say anything. Can you tell us more about that, since we're already on the brand? And for those of you who aren't following Angkas, like the only reason why you should be on Twitter is because of Angkas.
You can do Facebook too, but Twitter, yeah.
But yeah, can you tell us more about how you developed that brand voice? And how that even started? Like, did it organically grow inside in the team? Did you hire an agency? Like, how did that happen?
So we were very fortunate. I mean, my marketing team kind of developed that persona online. To be honest, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, wow, I catch no ball. I don't understand what this is because I'm clearly not a millennial in that sense, right? But I guess allowing the team to be, tongue-in-cheek, not taking ourselves too seriously, that was something that really worked very well for us. So, I don't have my slides here, but we make fun of ourselves. So when the It #2 came out, we mimicked the clown in the drain asking a little girl to come in because walang traffic dito. But little things like that allow us to kind of be very open about it, but also, I guess, upfront. That really helped a lot, and the team kind of developed that internally. Yeah, but just being true to the brand and understanding what our values were, I think, helped a lot. Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the composition of your team? Because some of our startups here. Sorry, another quick scan of the crowd. How many of you are startup founders, and just you right now, or just less than 3, or 3 and less than that? Yeah. How many are more than, or 10, more than 10, or around 10 and below? 20 and below? 30 and below? 50 and below? 100 and below? No? Okay. Can you tell us about how you kind of structured your team? And I know this is like a bit more technical, but I know that founders always ask this. Can you tell us about the structure of your team and how you grew from like what was your headcount in the beginning, like your first month? 3, 5? 10. Okay, 10. So can you tell us how you kind of structured that?
Okay, so I have to say that my team is super versatile, right? Because of everything we've been through, there's always like reorganization of what you need to do. So I think, before we go into how I structured my team, I think number one is to just get people with an open mind and the ability and the mindset to be able to do whatever's thrown at them, right? So a good attitude and some intelligence is like probably the most useful thing you'll have in a team. So I mean, at the start, you need to focus on really 3 things, right? Marketing, driver acquisition, and passengers. So that's how we structured our team, just based on who were the most important stakeholders in the company. Yeah.
And I guess speaking of stakeholders, what were the partnerships that were key in terms of the success of Angkas? And yeah.
So the partners that we found very useful for us was, the motorcycle groups. So there's actually a lot of motorcycle groups out there with their own advocacies. So one of Angkas's main advocacies is safety. And with that, we were also able to bond with a lot of bikers out there who have the same advocacy. On top of that, we have partnerships with like maybe Shell, companies that that we find aligned in terms of values or principles. Yeah.
And I guess let's go back to the whole regulation.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have more questions about that later. But I'll only ask one about this. So, like before Angkas, there was Grab and Uber, and you saw how that went down with LTFRB, and there was a whole,
it wasn't that bad until the fine.
How much was the fine? Do you guys remember the fine? We were just joking about it that Uber got fined before they shut down. Like, that sucks. Yeah. But you already sort of saw that coming. So did you expect this kind of heat from LTFRB?
Well,
yeah.
Well, you see the good and the bad, right?
Yes.
So they had a lot of bad, but then they managed to push through and they got some form of legal framework. So that's very
How did that happen? I mean, you kind of explained it, but how, especially in the Philippines, what was your strategy, I guess? Because I know, with the whole Uber and Grab, Uber's strategy had always been fight the government, and Grab was always, no, be friends with the government. So I guess what is the strategy? Was it both?
I think it's a bit of both, right? So you can't be too combative against the government, which is why we also threw that Thanksgiving concert, right? We wanted to make them feel bad, like, hey, look.
Were they invited?
Yeah, we had some congressmen go to the concert. You know, we invited,
Congressmen that were for Angkas, or?
I mean, you'll be surprised the number of politicians now who are like super for Angkas, right? So I guess one is like the bandwagon effect, but the others is also truly understanding the real impact of the business. Yeah, so it's a bit of both. So work with the government, but I guess maybe don't be too much of a pushover as well, because if the government gets everything that they want, then sometimes it's going to be hard to run your business. So you need to be able to walk that fine line. Yeah.
But I guess like don't also be afraid, right? With the environment that we have, yes, we're a bit behind, but the fact that Angkas is legal and the fact that, hey guys, you're still in a government building, by the way, you're in DTI.
Not legal yet.
We're not legal yet, but it's on the way. It's already.
On the way. Yeah.
So you know, like the fact that those two facts alone, right? It means that it is finally moving, and it is our responsibility also to kind of push them to the right direction. Two last questions.
Sure.
So I have one, my second to last is, what advice can you give to other startup founders or entrepreneurs who think that there's no hope for Philippines because of lack of hard and soft infrastructure?
Well, you know, this is a glass half full, a glass half empty question. I like to think of it as a glass half full, because if everything works so well, then you wouldn't have any opportunities to do business, right? That's really it. If you're truly an entrepreneur, you find ways to do what you can do to get around all of these obstacles, right? I mean, I'm from Singapore. Everything works there. And I'm here, right? So definitely.
Too perfect, though. Too perfect.
Yeah, we live in a bubble there. But yeah, so I think I definitely want to see it in a positive light, right? I mean, yes, infrastructure is weak, but then that also creates a lot of opportunities for you to try and bridge that gap, either between government or between business and consumers, and you know. But that's when you have to get creative, right? To find a way.
Okay, and one last question is, what's next for Angkas? And maybe like, how do you see Angkas in the next? I know startups, like we don't really think of like 5 years from now. So okay, maybe 2 years from now. How do you see like what's happening? What's exciting?
So we're super excited with what's going on the ground now with the regulation that's slowly taking place. So for us, we're excited to bring this service to Manila and for the other cities in the Philippines that needs the service like ours, right? And that's really what we're looking forward to expanding. For me to travel to the other parts of the Philippines that I've not seen. There's 7,100 islands. It's and that's a lot of opportunity for us. Yeah.
Are you still not know how to speak Filipino?
Konti lang.
All right. We will open the floor to your questions, so please raise your hands. Also, say hi to our followers. We're on Facebook Live. Please do share it, and we're also on Kumu. Please download Kumu. It's a Filipino live streaming app, so we're live. If our followers also have questions, please leave it in the comment section.
Hello, good evening, Angeline.
Hi, good evening.
Welcome to Cubo.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Richie. I just wanted to know what makes you, considering the fact that this business is quite risky, the first place, right? So why do you think Filipinos would patronage your kind of business? And there are some risks regarding with the safety of the passengers. Are they insured once some accident happens?
So we do recognize that maybe motorcycles are a more vulnerable mode of transportation, right? But that's why we take great pains to ensure that we train our bikers properly. We fail 70% of all applicants. And you have to, besides passing a written exam, you actually need to do an obstacle course with a pillion. And at that obstacle course alone, we fail 50% of our bikers. Right, and that's because we are very dedicated to ensuring that we put only the best bikers onto the platform. And that's how we are able to have our safer than condoms safety record, right? But in the unfortunate, but we do also have insurance and safety gear for the customers. So all rides are insured up to 450,000 pesos. And we have a 24/7 team to help ensure that there's quality control and customer service available. Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
Firstly, I want to say that was very inspirational.
Thank you.
And I know you worked for Grab before, and you set up their Grab scooter rides.
The express and bike, yeah.
How was the transition from that to starting your own, like with the logistics and the infrastructure? And why don't Grab have their own scooter sharing? Like, why wouldn't somebody else compete with you?
Have you seen my previous slides? So I think the first question, the transition was definitely not easy going from a company with a lot of support to one that has none. But that's, I think, something that I'm happy to build again, because this is not my first startup, right? And it's important to have people who you trust and have the different expertise from yourself. I mean, from a founder perspective, right? To kind of help to build the different parts of the business. So I think that's something that really helps. And why don't I have competitors? I mean, I do have some competitors, but they're not. They're not doing as well. Yeah, and we've been through a lot. I mean, if you look at what we've been through, not many people want to go through that. So, yeah. Thank you. Next question.
Hi. So
Where are you?
I think your story is about adversity. I'm here.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
I think you,
I'm not tall enough.
I think you've gone through a lot of adversity. Can you talk more about what made you prepare for it? Or I guess a better question would be, what did you do? What were you going through your head during that raid?
Why?
I had to ask it. I mean it's
No, that was going through my head. Like, why?
Oh, it's why. Okay. But what did you do after? What did you tell your team? And of course, you have drivers and you have riders. So what was like the process there?
So I think through time, all the ups and downs were easier to take. The hardest one was probably getting raided by the government in your office. That was pretty scary for a lot of people. But I mean, ultimately, what's important was that we all believe that this is the right thing to do, right? And that we truly are providing a service that is safer, more affordable, more reliable. And I think that's something that keeps us going, not only for the drivers but my staff as well. All right, so we all believe in the same cause, and I think that's something that keeps us going. All right, so in the face of adversity. So I mean, like the recent TRO, it was bad, but we were like, okay, we're gonna keep going because we know we're on the right path. Right, so.
What did you tell your team?
What did I tell my team? Kaya natin to. See, Natasha, I do speak Tagalog.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to ask further about safety.
Sure.
In the context of the Philippines, it's always easy to get a driver's license.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that probably LTFRB and the government don't trust themselves in as well. So that's the reason, maybe that's why there's this discrimination. But the fact that you're able to get a driver's license even without going to an actual driving test, apart from you being on the road and sharing the road with other vehicles as well. And these same drivers, they have their own discrimination and bias against motorcycles. The question is, how do you continue, or how do you monitor the riders after their certification? How do you monitor them on a daily basis, apart from the rating system on the app itself?
Okay, so yes, personally, I'm from Singapore. I do not trust the driver licenses here too, even though we require a professional license on top of a regular license, which is why I mentioned just now that we have tests that drivers have to go through. Have to go through training, tests, and written and practical exams, just to ensure that they really can ride, right? And I think the other thing about safety. So yes, we have a driver feedback system, and that's something that we address all bad feedback, and drivers get suspended, removed from the platform, and whatnot. On top of that, I cannot tell this to like the online guys, but like, so my drivers don't really know this, but we actually also have mystery passengers on a daily basis that we deploy to kind of like, you know, take rides, you know, give us feedback on what's going on with the driver, and the drivers, offending drivers, get called in for retraining, or they get, you know, yeah. So these are the things that we do. We also recheck their bikes whenever we have events. And so on and so forth. So we don't just trust the driver ratings, we do other things as well. And yeah, so like some of my guys, and they see, or even myself, when I see people on the roads with an Angkas helmet and they're not doing something right, I stop the car, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? So if more people did that, that would be great as well. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Angeline.
Hi.
My question is that is Angkas currently working or is planning to work also with the tricycles here in the Philippines? Because Angkas has a working platform already and has various users as well. So is Angkas planning to venture out at tricycle industry as well?
We don't have any immediate plans, but you know, as you said, there is a platform and it does involve motorcycles, so that could be something that we're open to doing down the road. But right now, we're focused on 2 wheels, not 3. Yeah. Do you have a tricycle business? You want to talk about this after? Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. I'm James, by the way.
Hi, James.
Just to let you know that I'm not that good in English.
It's okay. Dahan.
Okay. Just a quick background so that you can understand my question. Way back 2 years ago, my plan in my business is that someday I will put a shop in the mall so that I have a pretty good business, right? But eventually, as time passes by, the industry changes. So way back 2 years ago, I started from scratch. So like I have no money to start up like that, and then suddenly some competitors put up their business and then take over me, and then so now they have shops on their mall. So I am not going to specify the kind of business, okay? And basically now, so I've been using Angkas very much. A while ago, before my mom go home, he booked Angkas from here.
Thank you.
And I use Grab. Yes, I use Shopee. So it's pretty much the industry is diverging now into mobile applications. So the era of the websites is now kind of dying. So it's people want a few clicks from their phone. So even if they don't need to access their browsers, etc. So my plan right now is to build an app.
Okay.
Build an app for my service, but it's not transportation. It's about
Yeah.
You can see my shirt.
Okay, trusting my eyesight.
It's like
Sneakers.
yes, it's more like a shoe repair.
Okay.
So it's like I'm.
Shall I advertise for you? If you come closer, I can read it.
That's
James Sneakers dot care.
James Sneaker Care.
James Sneaker Care, guys. Please give him
So
some business.
that's my name is James. So the way back, I don't know what to name my company, so I just put my name first.
Okay, that
James
works.
Sneaker. That's it. And I have no knowledge about app development of this. So my first question is how long did it take for this application to be built? And what's the foundation behind it so that it works very well?
So my suggestion to you, if you're starting a business from scratch, is to use an existing, software that's already developed, right? Because you're testing the market and you're building your customer base, right? So there are a lot of these platforms that you can use. So I think you can even use like Shopee, for example, because you're selling a service, right? So use something that's existing out there. Even Carousel, I'm not most up to date to this, but these are the kinds of companies you can use first to test the market without spending too much money building out an app, right? So that's my first suggestion to you. Just proof of the product. Make sure you understand who your customers are and the kinds of service they actually want, the price points, before you put in that money to build an app, because that takes a lot of work and time, and I don't suggest that's the first thing you do. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just want to take this time.
He's right in front, guys. He came
Yes,
early.
I did the best effort to be here in front. Okay, I already tested using Grab, using Angkas like that in my.
But that's your
service.
logistics fulfillment, right?
Yes.
You have like a lot of
And-
customers.
But the feedback I got from my customers were like, they wanted to have our own riders so that the shoes will be much safer. Because like the shoes they want to send us is like more valuable, like that. It's worth. Yes, because I have issue with Grab before, like.
You can do that if you can figure out a price point that works, right? 'Cause-
Yes,
So
yes.
you'll need to hire X number of drivers depending on the amount of business that you have and do that. But yeah, in this day and age, that's also a big investment to make. So if you have enough customers and they're willing to pay for it, then do it. But if not, then figure out how to make them feel safer with putting their shoes with these kinds of companies. Yeah.
Okay, that's thank you very much.
Welcome, James Sneaker Care.
Hello. So my question
Hi.
is about how did you solve the chicken and egg problem between the passenger and the rider? Where did you start between the two?
I started with the drivers because if you have passengers and no drivers, then that's pretty bad, right? But you can, but I mean, you can in a way you have more degree of control over the drivers because you can, incentivize them to stay online to take customers even if there are no customers, right? But so drivers first and then passengers.
From that, how did you grow your user base? With word, community or groups?
So what we
did you top
found is actually word of mouth works the best. So initially we had to do a lot of marketing and promo codes, but then once you start getting people who are loyal users and kind of getting the word out there and you gain a good reputation, I think that really made a difference for us.
So where did you get these riders at first?
Drivers,
Yeah,
bikers.
drivers.
Yeah, so we were in touch with rider groups, right, biker groups. So I mean, first and foremost, we tried to target people who love to ride already. If anyone's taken Angkas, all our bikers are very happy, right? It's because they're not stuck in traffic, they make good money, and they enjoy riding. So it's a win-win-win for them. So that's where we started. So for people who really love to ride, first and foremost.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm the next question.
Hi.
My name is Heidi, and I have a new startup, and I'm building it.
Okay.
And just a quick advice for people like me, like a young Filipina who wants to have a successful startup that can change actually the world. And just a quick advice for me or for people like me here.
Okay, so I think it's great to dream big, right? And I think so some advice is just make sure that you know what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you're a sole co-founder, then find a team that can complement you on your weaknesses, right? So first understand also what you kind of need in order to succeed in your line of business. Being a sole co-founder is not easy. I suggest getting partners that you trust, right? And I think the other thing is also it's good to be very positive and optimistic, but you also need to plan for the worst. So be able to adjust to what the circumstances are. Because if you're very in love with an idea and it's not working, trash it and make a new one. All right, so I think that's one of the most important things for being in a startup. Yeah, welcome.
Hi, Angeline. Ralph.
Hi.
I'm an avid fan of Angkas. Like
Thank
I
you.
often use it. But my challenge is that I think this goes also for other Angkas users who use Angkas to as a way for them to commute to work. Is issuing digital receipt a part of your pipeline this year?
What?
Sending digital receipts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, we do hear that a lot, but that's something we're working on. Yes.
Are we going to expect what? Do you have any timeline in mind that when is it going to happen or? Is it
By
going to
this
happen
year, by this year, by
Okay,
this year.
okay, I'll
That's the
expect
year
that.
just started, right? So by this year, you'll see it.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Angeline.
Uh, yeah, hi, Angeline.
Hi.
My name is Christian.
Hi, Christian.
I founded GasMe, so it's in fuel delivery service. It's a it's a fuel on-demand platform. So actually, I was also a fan of Angkas.
Thank
And
you.
also, actually, I am studying your process because we have much same platform. My question actually is, do you also partner with, for example, as because your number one concern is safety, and as we want to serve our customer. Actually, we started last year December our alpha testing, and right now we are refining our application for beta testing. So the question is, do you partner with, for example, GasMe to deliver fuel in terms of that kind of service?
Yeah, I mean, we do deliveries, so that's something that we can look at working together on.
Yeah,
I can
and
give you my card. You can.
yeah, just one last question.
Sure.
Regarding, because we are in fuel, and I'm projecting that soon we will also experience that kind of problems in terms of regulations. One question, I think someone asked it, but I just want to understand what is the emotions and feeling when you are experiencing that kind of problems.
Why? And then you move on. Thank you.
Hi, Angeline. Hi, I'm Demi.
Hi there.
Thank you for Angkas, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you
inspire
for
a lot of
supporting
people.
us.
Yeah. It takes a lot
Appreciate
of grit. So my question is, are you planning to do a mentorship program in the future for young female entrepreneurs?
That's a good question. I'll be happy to, if we can figure out a way to do it. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm open to that. Thanks.
Hi, Angeline.
Hi.
I'm Ryan.
Hi, Brian.
I'm a huge safety advocate, and I really laud the safety-centric or safety-focused programs that Angkas has.
Great.
So what I'm wondering is if there is an incentive system for, because I already know that your riders are top-notch in terms of safety precautions and skills even. I also happen to have an e-commerce site platform where I sell safety gears, and
Okay.
A huge fraction, actually, it turns out, of my customers are Angkas riders themselves, that they are buying for themselves, not even waiting for Angkas management, for example. And I kind of try to make it a point to give them a discount or something like that.
Yay, thank
But
you.
well, my question is, if there is a system for Angkas where safety or laudable individuals are incentivized for their innate desire to provide safety or safe rides to their passengers.
Sorry, what's your question?
If there is such a system within Angkas where safety is incentivized for these individuals, your drivers rather.
Yeah, so safety is always our number one priority. We remind our bikers on a daily basis, and if you get higher ratings and things like that, you do qualify for certain incentives as well. But if you do sell safety gears, maybe we can talk to see if you have good deals. We can give that as part of incentives, which we do from time to time as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, my question is regarding Angkas in its role in not only in the Philippines but maybe Southeast Asia in general. Like when I was in Indonesia, like last year, Gojek
sea of green
Gojek
there.
was the biggest platform provider for motorcycle ride sharing, and my question is does Angkas see itself expanding its horizons towards Southeast Asia, which I'm sure you will, and vice versa? Will Gojek have plans to infiltrate the Philippines?
So right now my plans are really focused on in the Philippines because I believe there's still a lot to do here. You know, we have 14 million bikers that we wanna work to increase the safety aspects and safety awareness of these drivers. And when we're done with that, we will, I guess, look outside if it's necessary. And yes, of course, other competitors want to come in, so that's not something we have control over. But we just hope that everyone will be able to keep up the same standards that we have right now to keep the industry in a good space. Yeah.
Hi, Angeline. I'm OJ from VR Spaces.
Hi, OJ.
Yeah, I'm actually from Cebu. I flew in here just to see you speak. So.
Oh wow! Thank you. We gotta take a photo and shake hands later.
Anyway, right. So back in 2017, July. Actually, I saw my Instagram first Angkas ride, July 2017. So
That's when we launched in Cebu.
yeah. So probably I was one of the first riders.
Thank you.
So my question is, my startup, our customer base is actually in the U.S. So we're doing like $5,000 MRR, but right now what we're trying to do is to open here in the Philippines and to offer our virtual reality apps to realtors here in the Philippines. But again, from what you have went through, because we have actually a profitable business model already,
Congrats.
is it worth it to go here in the Philippines because I think it's more satisfying, or just continue because right now we're like a white label product, so we're not really branding, we're like a outsourcing company. So it is better to open here, or we have to expand our user base abroad and then just open here once we already are awash with cash. So what do you think is,
I guess it depends on where you believe you have a market, right? And if you feel that you have a big enough market here to sustain the increased costs that were involved to launch here, then do it. But my suggestion would be to have a stable business first before you plan to spend a lot of money when you can go into the red, right? So it really depends on how scalable your business is in terms of capital expenditure. Yeah. Does that help? We can talk more after if you want. Thanks.
Okay. Hi, good evening, Angeline.
Hi, good evening.
My question is, can you share to us Angkas, upcoming initiatives or exciting plans for you to entice more customer to avail your service? Because to be honest, I never tried yet trying your service. One of the considerations is safety reason. But after seeing the videos that you shared with us, it seems like I'm enticed to do it. But can you share to us your upcoming plans and exciting plans to entice more customers now?
To entice you to use our service, I will ask my manager to give me a promo code for you. First ride free. But I mean, yeah, so we have a lot of initiatives coming up, but I think the one that I'm really most happy to talk about is we're trying to launch a new service called Angkas Buhay. It's basically a first responder service in the Philippines. So, here four-wheel ambulances take a long time to get to the destinations if they get there at all. And what we want to do is we want to be able to train some of our bikers to have the skill sets to be a first responder to the scene, help to stabilize a patient while waiting for an ambulance to come. So I think that's one of our most exciting plans coming up maybe in the second half. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Angeline here.
Hello.
Hi, just wondering, more of a personal question, less of a technical. I was wondering why, since you come from a country where everything is, going well, what brought you here to the Philippines, and was it a challenge for you to start what you're doing here?
Well, number one, it's more fun in the Philippines, and I love the people. And I think there was definitely a big culture shock at the start in terms of, I guess, the traffic. So I hated going anywhere in Manila for the first year because I was like, why does everything take so long to get from one place to another? And also, I guess, the working culture, that was also something that I had to get used to. But other than that, I think, businesses are run the same in any country. It doesn't matter, right? The most important thing are the people.
Just a follow-up. So
Sure.
was there maybe someone, a local, maybe from here to assist you with?
He's standing right behind you. My husband's the reason why I am still here. So George Royaka, he's a visionary. He's also behind a lot of the marketing campaigns that we have and the videos. So we're married, and he's Filipino, originally from Jensan.
Yay.
So
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Can we just give a few seconds? Would you like to have water? Okay,
Thank
water
you.
break for Angie. Okay, so I think we have time for last 3 questions after the sir. We have 1. I think I have another at the back. 2, and then 3. Angie will be here for after the program. She can approach her, but
Only for selfies, no more questions.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just kidding.
Or you can reach the team, but okay. So water break is good. Yes. Oh,
Is it
the
over?
sir, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I'll preface this by saying that I'm American, so I'm relatively new to the Philippines.
Welcome.
Thank you. And so the first time that I heard about Angkas is actually from a local person who recommended that I download it. And he said that it was owned by Grab. And I had to do a quick survey during the Q&A session to be like, wait, is that actually true? And maybe that is a commentary on how good your marketing is, like the music video and the footage from the concert.
Wouldn't you say it's better than Grab's?
Probably.
We're owning them.
Yeah. But I guess this brings up the question of the amount of effort that you put into community outreach with the concert, with the rise that you've done, and also government relations, public affairs on the other side. I guess in the U.S. we would just kind of call that in general like public affairs or lobbying. What for other founders in the audience or who are watching, who are developing products and services that are also really disruptive and whose regulators might not be the most supportive or the most engaged with what they're doing, what would you recommend the balance would be between marketing, as in like reaching out to the communities, reaching out to different stakeholders on a public level versus engaging with the government and regulators?
Wow, that's a really big question. I think for us, initially we found a lot of support on the ground. Right. So first and foremost, you need to have a product that people believe in. So it starts from the people around you. It starts from the people who use your service. And then in terms of our evolution, we really started seeing a lot of minds change as we're able to focus the voice of our customers and our drivers. So whether it be it in a rally, whether it be it in a concert, this is something that I think got the regulators thinking differently, right? Because I mean, status quo is always the hardest to break, right? So you have to give them good reason to do so, and you have to make it an easy decision, right? So try to do your best to make the right choices for what you think is the best for whatever industry that you're in or what you're trying to disrupt, right? And then most of all, Philippines is a very relational country. So I think that's something that you'll find is very different from the US. So you need to be able to make those personal connections, not just with the people, but also you need to be able to somehow form a working relationship with the government. Yeah, so that's going to be the challenge for you guys. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah. From what I understand, the fight with the government isn't over.
We're not fighting. Okay.
Okay. So, in my mind, that's the reason why you don't have as harsh a competition that you should have. But once the floodgates open, are you like bracing for impact? How are you preparing, or is it in your mind at all right now?
So for us, we're committed to just keeping the standards that we have, and definitely we will have competition. But I think that's something that we welcome because I believe that competition only makes you better. So it's going to be a completely different challenge. Will be a new stage of the business, and and we'll keep fighting, right, and come out on top.
One at the back.
Oh yeah.
He was number 3 though.
The one at the back, and then sir.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry. Hi, I'm Chris.
Hi,
I was
Chris.
late, so I might be making you repeat something
Sure,
because
no
I didn't
problem.
write Angkas going here.
Oh, okay. Thank
So,
you.
So I'm from Teco. We're also trying to disrupt the way things are done here, but I'm more interested in what your long-term plans really. Well, how you see yourself fitting in the fabric of like Philippine transportation, 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
So I believe there's always a space for two-wheeled vehicles, right? Be it a point. So what we have is a point-to-point. So if mass transportation improves, which I hope it will for the sake of the country, then we can also do a feeder service. So there's always going to be a usage for a point-to-point motorcycle taxi service. So you'll have your ecosystem of mass transportation, of buses, of trains, right? But then from there, you'll still need to get to your end destination, and I think that's where we'll always have a space to play in.
So it's always two wheels.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, right now that's our focus, but we have a platform that's very versatile. So in time, that could change as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Angeline. So I'm Dennis now. Probably being the last one who'll throw the question. This is just more adept to the Philippine culture. Because, the most talked about things here in the Philippines is probably politics and showbiz, right?
Yes, I'm not used to that. From Singapore, there's no politics and there's no showbiz.
So you're more aware right now that the election would be coming this May, and each of the Filipino people would have their own political affiliates. Now, would you allow a rider to have an advertisement of a political choice that he is? Because you're identified as an Angkas, right? Unlike for Grab cars, they could put their political parties whoever they like. They just take it in their car, knowing that that's not Grab or a private car, right? But for Angkas, you're identified as an Angkas because of the helmet, the color, like that. Would you allow or regulate this one? Because I know each of the rider has their own political choice. And they would probably have, if they have campaigning for a certain politician, they might put some flags in their motorcycle. I vote for this. Then you'll see another rider against the political party that this rider is. Because that's too, you'll be identified really. Like me, I saw already one rider has a flag of a political, who's running for politics.
Yeah.
So this is a best way also to be even in the playing field. So would you allow as a political expression of, freedom like that, or not?
So that's a good question, and that's something that I'll take to discuss with my team. But by and large, Angkas as an organization, we don't have any political affiliations, right? So we also don't want our bikers to misrepresent that Angkas has that political affiliation. So this is a question. So for the flags on their bikes, that's something that we'll need to discuss to see whether we're going to allow that or not, right? Because it's a sensitive topic here in the Philippines, right? But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's a really good thing for us to think about. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, everybody. We love QLITANs when there's not enough time for Q&A and you prefer Q&A over beers. But thank you. It's always an awesome QLITAN when we don't have enough time for Q&A. Thank you to Angeline, to the Angkas team. We have a goodie bag, a Kubo goodie bag.
Oh, thank you.
Yay!
Yay!
And the picture.
Hey guys, sorry, I forgot one more thing. Since there seem to be a lot of new users here, or people who've never tried riding bikes, can I just leave you with 3 tips on how to ride safely? Because it's not just about biker being safe, it's about the passenger being safe. Okay, so number 1, always wear your helmet, strap it tight, okay? 2 fingers, because if you don't strap it or it's loose, it falls off. That's like your most important safety equipment for you to use, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, when you hold your driver, don't hold him on the shoulders. Why? Because that controls the bike. So if you freak out, you can cause the accident, right? The safest way is actually to hold the driver on his waist. Don't be shy, all right? Or belt, yeah. So personally, I hold one on the waist and one behind, right? And number 3, always lean with the biker. So follow the biker's lead, all right? I know some people think like, oh my God, he's leaning left. I'm going to counterbalance and lean right. No, truly, that's the natural human reaction, right? That's also not the right way to do it. So lean with the biker and trust that he's not gonna like topple the bike over, right? Also, don't overlean, but just follow his lead, okay? And lastly, just be careful of the tailpipe on the right side. So always alight on the left, okay? So 4 riding tips. Thank you, guys.